All right, we made it. 10 minutes late. It's on me. So I had an emergency session that someone asked for, and so made it happen. Anyway, hopefully you're checking in, connecting in. Let's see who's trying to get in here. I want to talk about this topic because I really love this topic. So I'm just seeing who is here and who wants to get in, making sure everyone's online. There we go. Anyway, let me know. Message me, private message me if you're not seeing it, and we'll make it happen. Hey, Carol, how are you? Good afternoon. It's afternoon by you? Were you in the States? I'm working in like 5 different time zones, so it gets fun. Awesome. All right, Simone is ready. Good. All right, so good to be back. Anyway, let's get this rolling here. PA, nice. I'm a huge Pennsylvania fan. Where are you in Pennsylvania? Such an amazing state. Amazing, amazing state. I spent 3 summers there. Incredible. Sydney, so are you 5 or 7 hours ahead of me? But most likely you're in a lockdown. I'm sorry to hear that. It's so intense. Quaker Town. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I worked on a farm in Newport, Pennsylvania, near Harrisburg. About an hour from Harrisburg. It's fantastic. It's a summer camp. 5 a.m., so that's what? 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's about 6 hours. Okay. 6 hours. All right, so let's talk. Let's get going. Rock and roll. Feel free to shoot me questions. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you. And yeah, let's make it happen. Just making sure anybody else is trying to get in. All right. So emotionally protect yourself and advocate for yourself. Okay, so here's what happens. I want to share this with people. People come to therapy for like a reason, like I'm stuck with a certain behavior, or I keep getting something in my relationships, and what I love, hi Abel, what I like to help people do is to say, wait a minute, before we hate on this behavior and we want to rip it out and get rid of it, it's like, wait a minute, let's hang out with it. You have to understand that we don't do anything in our life unless there's some gain or some benefit from it. It just doesn't happen. So that goes for the alcoholic and the drug addict and the rageaholic. And we do think if you're doing something in your life that you want to change, okay, great. You're now being offered a door and a window into parts of yourself that need your attention. And so we do certain things to try to like meet some kind of emotional need. And that's what I'll talk about in a second. But just to realize, like, if it's become a part of my life regularly, it's got to be for some reason. And so there's some payoff. Now, people get uncomfortable. It's like, how can you talk about a payoff or a gain if it drives me nuts, every time, I get very needy, controlling in my relationships, and I cling really tightly, and I push the person away. How's there a gain? Okay, well, we'll talk about it. But anything I'm doing that I've decided that, this is really bothering me, or it's interfering with my life, or gets me in trouble, I rage, I assume the worst, I ruminate on heavy negative thoughts. Anything you've determined that this is just not working, but it's a regular part of your life. The fact that it's a regular part of your life comes to indicate that there's some kind of gain. It's playing some role, and that's where the key is, which is like, well, there's some legitimate emotional need that's going on here, and I don't know any way to meet it. I have no tools. I'm just kind of growing up, trying to figure it out as I go, survive, and I've discovered by trial and error that this particular thing kind of works. So let's pick a certain. Hey Ava, so let's pick like a simpler one, like a person has let's look at an alcoholic. It's just simpler, but emotions come up. I have a lot of emotions. I have very low self-esteem. I feel horrible about myself. What do I do with this? Well, if I drink, all of a sudden, I don't feel any of that. I don't. Hi, Erica. It's all gone. Like I'm not aware. I medicated away the feelings, so it kind of works. So I've met my need to deal with my emotions, but it's like the method chosen has such like a negative consequences to it, and so it's destructive. But oh, I have to stop drinking. That's it. The whole thing. It won't work because wait a minute, it's playing a certain role in my life. Oh, that's intense. Married to an alcoholic. So, but I can take it and use it and say, oh, I realize, wait a minute. This thing is teaching me that I have a need to learn how to healthfully deal with my emotions. Aha, now we're talking. So to really switch that behavior, to move away from it, I need to start to develop healthier tools for navigating emotions, feeling my emotions. Anyway, it's always the same kind of thing like this, that any uncomfortable behavior that's going on is an indication that there's some legitimate emotional need that I've never learned in my life, because we don't learn any of these tools, growing up, how to navigate emotions, feel emotions. And so it's a legitimate emotional need. I have feelings. I need to feel that. What do I do with them? And there are a lot of other emotional needs, and we're going to talk about them in a second. But I have these emotional needs, and I don't have any other way to meet it. I'm a kid. I'm growing up. I'm trying to figure it out. And I just discover, or a teenager or whatever, I just discover that, oh, this kind of works. Trial and error. And so these are the issues and struggles that we face. And to truly work past it, to truly overcome it, we've got to kind of embrace it for a second and hang out with it and learn from it a little bit. It's a little bit counterintuitive because we're like, I hate it, never again, never doing it again. But it requires tuning in and connecting and learning from it. And so that's a long introduction. It's a long introduction. There are a lot of things that we do to keep ourselves safe and protected. That's what this comes down to. And what we want to learn is can I have healthier ways to keep myself safe and protected? So for example, some people have gotten very hurt by people a lot over time. They give, they're vulnerable, they're trusting. We show up and we give and we give and we give, and people take advantage and they disappear. They gaslight us. We're abandoned. We're hurt again, And so it's like, I keep doing this over time and I keep getting hurt. I want to be safe. So what do? Well, I just won't connect to anybody. I'll reject everybody. And so on one hand, it works. I'm safe. I'm not hurt. On the other hand, I'm alone. I'm not connecting with anybody. I'm not inviting friends to become deeper connections with me. And I'm not forming, intimate partners like I'd really like to. So that's where the question comes. How do I engage with people in a way that I can engage and yet keep myself safe? I can engage and keep myself protected without using any of these kinds of tools. And so some people have been abandoned a lot. They went through, let's say, some people were abandoned physically, parent disappeared. Some people were abandoned emotionally. The parents were there, but never tuned in. They never connected. I wasn't allowed to feel. So we carry this abandonment. It's like, wow, I'm always going to be abandoned. And now here you are 20 years later, an adult, assuming I'm going to be abandoned. So I start connecting with somebody and I start self-sabotaging the whole relationship. I'm going to abandon you before you abandon me. I'm safe. I'm protected. I don't know any other way to keep myself safe and protected. And so that's the pain, which is that on one hand, it's totally legitimate emotional need. I want to be safe. I want to be secure. I want to be protected. I want to be okay. Totally legitimate. But what's the method being used? That's where the problem is. So it's important to separate the two, because otherwise we'll see this. Well, I abandon people before they abandon me, or I get nitpicky, and I look for what's wrong in them and I make a big deal out of it, or I find reasons to reject them before they can reject me. I self-sabotage the whole thing. But there's a legitimate emotional need that's there, that you have to get met, you're allowed to get met, you need to get met, you want to get met, you must get met. You must. But what are your methods now? What are your tools? You only have one. It's the only thing you discovered over time kind of works because you've never tuned in, checked in, and this is what Relationship Masters is about. But to separate the two is huge. Otherwise, you're just like, that. I have to stop doing that. Okay, but what are you replacing it with? It's a powerful separation between the two. It's somewhat like, and this is a separate conversation, like, let me unconditionally accept myself. I am good. The behavior I did wasn't good, but I am good. It's kind of similar. Log that away in your minds. We'll come back to it because it's a hugely favorite topic of mine. Super key to our parenting of our child self and a parenting of our own kids. But the separation between these two is huge. So this unhealthy behavior in your life is, for those of you who are connecting on this level, is that, I want to keep myself safe, secure, protected. I don't want to be hurt. Totally legitimate need. I can't do enough to help you achieve that. And I look forward to helping you achieve that. The method, let's get something healthier. Because what you'll notice is that the only method you've come up with over time, and not your fault, but no one taught you, there's no teachers, right? Until there's relationship masters. But I have no other way to meet that need. And so I just, by trial and error, kind of came up with something like a hack, and it kind of works. I cut everybody off, or I reject you before you reject me. And so the method comes with negative side effects and negative consequences. And so if it wasn't for the negative effects and side effects and negative consequences, you would keep doing it because it works. It meets a need. The alcoholic, the drug addict, the gambler, they would keep doing what they're doing. They would keep doing what they're doing. Hey, give me 2 minutes. They would keep doing what they're doing because it works. That's what we're saying. If I cut everybody off, I'm never hurt. It works, but it has side effects. So that's what we're talking about over here. So the question is, how do I then, engage in a way that I engage with people, I connect with people, I become vulnerable and trusting with people, yet I keep myself safe at the same time? That's our question. Okay, I'm going to talk about it in a second. Let me just see, there's some questions here and some comments I want to catch up on, and then we'll get back into this point. Yeah, okay. It's very good to be back. I missed y'all. Anyway, negative thoughts and emotions for me are hectic. It's awesome to notice them. It's so interesting. People like all the time, like this emotional work. Why am I so tired? Yeah, it's heavy lifting. All this emotional stuff is tiring. It's very difficult. And constantly thinking negative, or it sounds, for many people, negative thinking is how they protect themselves. Let me be anxious and on guard all the time, and I can try to keep myself protected against things beyond my control. Because these core needs, one core need is validation. The main ones I see three right now is validation and unconditional acceptance and security. And so for some people, that's it. If I keep myself on guard, how do I protect myself against things beyond my control? I'm always on guard. I'm always anxious. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, that kind of thing. So some people, the negative thinking, what could go wrong? What will go wrong? How could it go wrong? How could it not go wrong? And so it's very draining. It's very exhausting. Let's see if we can't start a process here. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Colleen. Welcome. What else is here? Okay. Trying to catch up. It keeps scrolling back down. Why is that? Okay, let me try like that. Okay. It's not letting me scroll all the way down the comments. All right, I'll just give up in a second. Okay. Yeah. So rejecting people, keep ourselves away. Who said that? Erica said, yeah, keep yourself away, and I don't connect, but I'm safe. Carol's on board. Yeah. Okay. Yes, thank you for noticing the headphones. There you go. I did it. I joined the pods revolution here. Yeah, I'm spending regularly 6 to 9 hours a day of sessions. It's pretty long, but I just needed a better way to do it. I know, right? I was microphone challenged before. Anyway, thanks for noticing. I appreciate that. Anyway. So Diana, you're talking about something else that's important. I want to get to that also if I can, which is that I'm trusting somebody, then all of a sudden I find out that I can't trust them anymore. And so that's an important one to get into. Anyway, so how do I then engage yet keep myself safe? And that's what we're talking about. These behaviors that we notice ourselves doing that are totally destructive of relationships. They totally interfere with relationships. Am I at the bottom here? Wait 1 second. Can I see on the screen here? No, I can't. I'm trying. I have the computer and the phone at the same time. I'm a little techie, but like not. I gotta upgrade myself here. That would be cool if I could see it on the computer, the comments. Let me see if that happens. Anyway. Oh, that worked. Kind of. Okay. So how do I keep myself safe? And this is really the key, is that there's a certain behavior you notice yourself doing, and its aim is to keep yourself safe. It's kind of amazing the way the body and brain are programmed to keep us safe no matter what. It's really amazing how they work. But eventually it's because it's in the absence of healthier techniques. And so it starts to interfere with our relationships. And that's the problem. That's what we're here. And so the need is legitimate to feel safe. The method that's been used is the only one we've kind of fallen into over time, which is let me reject people before they reject me, that kind of a thing. And so, but we want a different pathway, and how to do it. So, reptilian brain. So the idea is like this: is that I am adult self, child self crazy. I am trigger method crazy. But when you regularly take 30 seconds and tune into the triggers that you're feeling, you tune into the emotions, you show up for them, you practice it. So like a muscle gets stronger, the more that you build it up, the stronger that it gets. So the same thing is with us. We start to feel more valid, more secure. We start to feel more worthwhile. Just because why? Because if I stop what I'm doing and I take a second, I just tune into me, right? If someone comes to talk to me, I put my phone down, I just tune into you, and you're telling me what you feel, and I give you that attention. I've said so much in an implied message with my behavior that you count, you matter, you're important. That's why I'm not doing anything else. You do the same thing to yourself when you say, wow, I was really irritated 3 hours ago. What was I feeling during that interaction, during that phone call, during that text exchange? What were the feelings that came up? And I name the feelings and I tune in. I'm deeply validating myself. I'm treating myself as with worth and with value. And then I noticed the feelings came up. I was talking to someone an hour ago, and he said I was doing it, and I noticed this word came out of nowhere called desperate. I said it was so uncomfortable to admit it, but the word nailed it. I said, great job, you got it. It's like I said, did it click? Did it connect as you're going through the chart? He goes, yeah, it really nailed the feeling I was feeling. And he's struggling in his relationships. But he felt that, and it was like, it's hard to admit it. It was like, yeah, but I accepted it. And so that's, on one hand, I'm practicing validating myself, seeing myself as of worth and value. And when I see the feelings that come up, and I'm not rejecting them or criticizing them, I am practicing unconditionally accepting myself. And what happens is I start to see myself as good and worthy and deserving. And it becomes so much easier then to take care of me, because I see myself as of value, self-care, care of anything. I don't really take care of like a disposable cup, but you give me some antique glass or crystal, and I'm like, ooh, and the same thing is by us. And this whole practice of tuning into what I feel and showing up for myself, building up my sense of validation and worth, that's the strong point from which I start to now take care of myself in a healthy way. I know what I feel, I'm going to share it. I'm allowed to be treated with respect as I'm treating myself with respect. It's deeply respectful, by the way, to take a moment to tune into what you feel and accept it. You're treating yourself with respect, and you're no longer okay with people not being respectful. And what happens is that you're less and less attracting people who hurt you. You're more and more attracting people who are respectful to you. But as you have feelings, you're really confident. I know what I feel. And you're much more willing to express, like, hey, when you do this, I feel really hurt. I feel really disrespected. I feel really unsupported. That's protection. That's healthy, safe protection and defending yourself. So I'm engaging. At the same time, I'm taking care of me. I'm advocating for me. I'm using the feelings I'm getting in touch with. And this is why a feelings chart is so important, because I need the words. When you speak to me this way, I feel very belittled and nothing and hurt. Wow, I just stood up for me. I just took care of me. When you say you're going to come at a certain time and you don't call or anything, I feel extremely unsupported and disrespected. I just stood up for me. Now, if the person responds in a way like, oh, okay, wow, I'm sorry, and they make change, great, I just took care of me. And if they don't, I step away. You're just not hearing me. You're not working with me. This is how we engage, but still keep ourselves safe. And I just want to add one other point to that. And this, obviously, we can keep talking about this, and many of you have your own personal things you're going through with this, and I encourage you, join us on Patreon. $3, $5, $10 a month. It supports me, it supports the group. It allows me, I'm begging you, because then I can do more. I can show up to the group more. But I'm giving up my time and I love it. But some of you have, individual questions, and some of you are in touch with me on Telegram or Facebook Messenger, and it's great. But this needs to be continued to talk about. I just want to leave you with one more point. And those of you hearing the recording also to enjoy it. But I think it's my view that it's perfectly acceptable as you engage with people to assume that everybody is not trustworthy until they prove themselves to be trustworthy. Everyone is not trustworthy until they prove themselves to be trustworthy through their actions. That I'm building up my validation, my confidence. I'm seeing myself as of worth. I'm doing the trigger method. I'm connecting. I see myself as valuable and worthwhile. That enables me to say what I really feel, to really be myself. Because remember, it's one of my favorite ideas, that the only way to really know if someone is good for you as a friend or partner is I've got to fully be me. No holds barred. And if it's good for you and you react in a way that works for me, great, we're a good connection. And if not, no problem. We should reject each other. We're not a good match. And so, but this idea is that people are not trustworthy until proven trustworthy. And as you feel better about yourself, it's easier to just watch, to notice, to observe, to see how people are reacting to you, and I'll give a little bit, I'll be a little vulnerable, and then I want to see how you react. And if it's earned, I'm happy to give more. But if it's not, I'm going to hold back. And that's another powerful way that we take care of self and yet still engage. Very different than I cut off everybody. I self-sabotage. I go overboard. I was talking to someone early this morning, and she said that's what happens. She waits, they're kind, and then she just love bombs and jumps in and, oh, it's amazing. And then they invariably let her down. And then she's clingy and wants more, and then the whole thing blows up and it's a mess. We don't want this. We want to engage in healthy ways to help keep us safe. Anyway, that's an initial foray into the topic. Let me see if I can answer a few questions, and I got to get going. Way more to talk about this. And if you have your personal questions, please be in touch with me. Let me see what I can answer quickly. Simone. Check in with yourself using, yeah, I love that. Trust your instincts, but you got to do the feelings chart. You've got to validate yourself so that you learn to trust your voice. What's my voice? I was told I'm not allowed to feel growing up as a kid. Why should I trust me? I don't trust me, but you're right. The best, most powerful sensor and instinct is me. How do I feel when I'm around certain people? You can think about that right now, and I love that idea. How do I feel around this one, around that one? You'll see. But you're 100% right. It's a great point that yourself knows what's true and what's real. Right, so that's what you're saying over here. How do you know what's coming for you or from the other? It's true. I think first you get good with you. As you practice this, there's a lot less static. You're more connected to yourself. You're less triggerable by other people. So what happens is that you're with somebody and you just don't react as much. And then what's left is what's coming from them. It's a level to work towards, but it's possible. It's very doable. Yeah. Self-care. It's all about self-care. I really think about that. We naturally take care of self. It's one of my favorite stories of Rabbi Twersky. Dr. Twersky was talking to a heroin addict who had this locket of her mother in gold, a heart. And he said, "Can I see it?" And she said, "Yes." And he said, "Do you mind if I step on it?" She said, "No." He said, "See, you take care of that because you value it, but you don't value yourself. And you drug yourself out and you hurt yourself." Really profound story that really affected me deeply. Yeah. All right. I think we got it. Anyway, it's a good start. Be in touch. Any personal questions about this, you know how to find me. And let's keep talking about it. It's an important one. But again, it's all variations on a theme. If you should be once a day, 30 seconds, feelings chart. Use mine in the trigger method. You don't like my feelings chart? Google images. Go hang out there. Type in feelings chart. Get one. Put it on your phone. People think you're texting. You're not. I'm chilling with my inner child. Excuse me. Nobody knows. But once a day, and not in the moment, by the way. People don't understand this. When you're deeply triggered in an argument, just breathe and make it through it. Some point afterwards, when you're calmer, then go there. What was I feeling during that fight? What feelings came up for me during that argument? That's everything. Because I'm getting in touch with the feelings, but the very process of stopping what I'm doing and tuning into me is where I break the old cycle. I reparent myself. I start to validate me. I start to accept me because I see the feelings that are coming up and I don't criticize myself. You also build your emotional vocabulary Besides happy, sad, angry, we've got very few words. That's got to change. And then it gets powerful. We can do another video on this. I love that also, which is that as I have those words, now I can communicate, you know. When you're late, I feel unsupported. Not you're such a jerk, you're always late. Good luck with that one. You started a whole fight. But tell the person that, you know, you didn't even call me, and I feel so unimportant. I feel disrespected. Much more of a chance over there. I'm not calling you a jerk. I'm letting you know how I feel. So it's very effective. Anyway, but that's the key way to go. And that's the story. Anyway, thanks for being here. Missed you guys. I'm glad we're back. I would like to do this twice a week. I think it would be great. And I think you could get into more stuff. I think different times are better for different people. But I think the format is great. And so what I'm trying to do is, if I can get enough people supporting the group on Patreon, then I can carve out more time and we can do this twice a week. So if you're liking this and enjoying this, if you'd like me to be in touch with you with personal questions, join us on Patreon. And if you'd like to get us to a place where we can do this more than once a week, which I'd love to do, and if you'd love to have more say about the day and the time, so jump on Patreon. Let's get up there and work together. It's a community. We're in this together. But I'm grateful you are here. I've been blessed to have this information and knowledge. This is the work that I do. This is my life's work, and I'm grateful to be able to share it with you all. And let's keep going. Let's keep growing. Do yourself a favor. Invite a friend who needs this. You know, many people can't afford therapy, but they need to grow. Invite them. There's real growth going on here. And yeah, together we can accomplish a tremendous amount. What else is here? Yeah. Awesome. Anyway, thanks for being here. Great talking to you. Start the week right with some hanging out with your child self. All right. Lots of love. Keep going, keep growing, and we'll talk more soon.